One mistake at the gas pump could quietly destroy your car. I'm not talking about something rare or unusual. This is something almost every driver has done at some point. But here's the shocking part. Overfilling your tank can flood your emission system and completely ruin a part that costs upwards of $1,000 to replace. So before you top off that tank, watch closely. I'll explain what's actually happening when you go past the pump's automatic shutoff, and how a seemingly harmless habit can wreck your car's fuel system. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Did you know that adding just a little extra fuel after the pump shuts off can set you up for a repair bill over $1,000? A lot of drivers feel like it makes sense to round off the number, maybe push it from $39.87 to a clean $40, or to squeeze in a few more miles before the next stop. It feels harmless. You press the handle, hear the click, and then add that last surge because, well, why not? But what's actually happening under your car's skin tells a very different story. The entire fueling system is designed with specific limits. That pump nozzle shutting off on its own isn't a suggestion. It's your car saying it's full. When you force in more, that overflow doesn't stay neatly in the tank. Gasoline has nowhere to go, and it ends up slipping into a part of your car that was never designed to touch liquid at all. The evaporative emission system. This system is there to capture the fumes coming off the fuel so they don't escape into the air. But it's built to handle vapor only, not actual liquid fuel. Imagine pouring water into a sponge that's meant for air. At first, it works, soaking up what it can. But the moment it's flooded, it stops doing its job. In your car, that sponge is a component called the charcoal canister. It sits quietly in the background, absorbing gasoline vapors. But when you force raw fuel in, that fuel soaks the charcoal and ruins it. Once it's clogged, vapors have nowhere to go, pressure builds, and the onboard computer throws warning lights at you. Suddenly you're staring at a check engine light and wondering why. Replacing that canister isn't cheap. Depending on the vehicle, the repair often runs into 4 figures, especially when the entire evaporative system has to be cleaned or replaced. Mechanics have reported customers shocked to learn that topping off their tank for years ended up killing a system that costs as much as a cell phone or even a laptop to repair. And what makes it worse is how quietly the damage builds. Drivers often describe the first signs as something small. Maybe the car cranks longer than usual before starting. Maybe the idle feels rougher after refueling. Or perhaps the fuel economy starts slipping, and they brush it off as seasonal changes. Then one day, the check engine light pops on. Diagnosis shows a saturated charcoal canister or a blocked line in the emission system. It doesn't point back to the simple habit of cramming in that extra half gallon, but that's what started the problem. The tricky part is, you don't see the consequences right away. A few cents worth of gas turns into years of slow damage that only reveals itself later. By the time symptoms show up, the canister is already done. It's not a part you can dry out or clean. Once fuel floods it, the material inside is destroyed forever, and the car can't function properly until it's replaced, because the computer monitors the entire system. So the takeaway is simple. That auto shutoff is there for a reason. Stopping right at the first click is more than just a convenience. It's the only reliable way to keep your emissions system safe from damage you'll never see coming. Skip that little top off, and you'll save yourself from one of the sneakiest and most expensive repair traps drivers fall into. But topping off isn't the only habit putting your vehicle at risk. There's another one millions of people do every day without thinking, and this one doesn't just damage filters. It leaves the electric fuel pump, one of the costliest and most critical parts of your car, exposed to failure. Ever driven with the low fuel light on, thinking you'll coast into the next station in time? Lots of people do it. Maybe they're running late, maybe they want to squeeze every last mile out of a tank, or maybe they just don't want to stop yet. At the time, it doesn't feel dangerous. After all, modern cars will usually go another 30 miles or so with the light glowing. But every time you stretch that distance, you're quietly shaving life off one of the most critical parts in your car, the electric fuel pump. Here's why that habit matters. Most people understand gasoline only as the stuff that powers the engine. What's easy to forget is the second job it performs inside your tank. Gas actually surrounds the pump, cooling the motor as it spins and lubricating the components at high speed. Picture a small electric motor constantly whirring, fully submerged in liquid. The surrounding fuel keeps it from overheating and lets it run smoothly. But when fuel gets too low and the pump starts sucking air along with liquid, the cooling and lubrication vanish. That's when heat builds up, friction increases, and wear sets in much faster than normal. This isn't a minor inconvenience. Once a pump overheats repeatedly, it starts to break down. Unlike other parts of the car, pumps don't often give clear warnings far in advance. There isn't a dashboard light that says, "Fuel pump wearing out." Instead, you may first notice occasional stalling, extended cranking when you try to start, or even sputtering when you accelerate. These little hiccups can show up randomly and disappear just as quickly, tricking drivers into thinking it's bad gas or a one-time glitch. In reality, the pump is struggling to move enough fuel under pressure, and it's the beginning of the end. When the failure does hit, it isn't cheap. Because the pump sits inside the tank, repairs often require lowering the entire tank out of the vehicle. That means significant labor on top of the new pump itself. Depending on the design, it's common for the repair bill to land somewhere between $800 and $1,500. It's the kind of repair that doesn't just sting your wallet, it also leaves you stranded. Drivers often report their car suddenly shutting off on the highway or refusing to restart at the gas station. They did what they always do, pushed it too close to empty, and then faced a tow truck and a massive bill. There's a story mechanics hear all too often. Someone who regularly ran their tank to fumes finally had their luck run out. Maybe they had gotten used to going 40 or 50 miles with the light on. It became a habit, even a weird challenge. Then one day the car just cut out while merging onto traffic. No sputter long enough to pull over safely, no warning, just silence. The tow bill was only the beginning. The shop called back with an estimate in the thousands. That customer now fills up at half a tank because once you pay for a pump, you learn fast. Ordinary fueling habits might seem harmless, but they directly decide how long key parts of your car survive. Something as simple as topping off or driving on empty slowly weakens expensive systems. That means regular choices at the gas pump either protect your emissions system and fuel pump or set you up for failure. Next time you fill up, stop right at the first click and don't let your tank drop below 1/4 full. Those two small changes alone can prevent repairs that cost more than a month's rent, and fueling isn't the only hidden habit destroying cars. Stay tuned.